We got to keep the older guys on these stages because by and large, for the male side at least, they're still better performers. They're still...
I'm excited to see him, but I'm more excited to see him perform Not Like Us and then see like a bunch of West Coast artists just go crazy.
She says she's coming back with R9. Are we foolish enough to hope that it's coming anytime soon? Welcome back to a new episode of Billboard Unfiltered. Of course, I'm Trevor Anderson. Got a new face over here. We want to introduce Kyle Denis to y'all.
Young shooter out here.
Yes, sir.
Of course.
Yes, sir.
Yes, one of the great wonder kids of his generation. Of course, we got the GOAT, Damien Scott, here as well.
Yeah, Wonderkin is like that's a lot.
Yo, Kyle's got a name out here.
Wow.
I'm telling you, he's got.
I'm with it.
I don't know.
Got
I
him a little
know.
following. We know we got plenty of opinions, thoughts.
That price going up.
That's
A little bit.
All right.
I'm telling you. So obviously a big week for us. Let's dive right into it. First thing we want to talk about, something that happened a couple days ago. Method Man out here talking after the Summer Jam performance. Had a little bit to say on Instagram after that, saying that it wasn't really his crowd at all. He thanked New York and thanked the tri-state area, Pete and Ebro, for having it. But he said never again. So he's kind of done with Summer Jam, thinking the generation gap has just gotten a little too wide. He clarified his comments a little bit later, saying it wasn't the crowd. You know, it was just a self-awareness moment that maybe, you know, where he needs to put his energy, his performances is going to be a little different from here on out. So first things first, what do you guys think about what Meth had to say? And it is what he's saying true. Are we getting to a point where the generation gap between, you know, young rap fans, fans of more classic rap, can the two not mix anymore?
I think Meth is correct in the sense that we have to be a little bit more conscientious with the way that we're creating these lineups.
Yeah.
You can't really have Method Man and Redman on a lineup that is led by Doja Cat, Sexy Red, Cash Cobain, 41. Those people and their fans aren't necessarily here to see Method Man, Redman, Jadakiss, and people who are here to see Jadakiss and Method Man and Redman are not really there to see 41 either, or see Doja Cat or Cash or Sexy or anyone like that. I was at Roots Picnic the day before Summer Jam, and Method Man and Redman had a great crowd. They were having a ton of fun on stage. It really played well to that demographic in terms of a bit of an older crowd, but people who were still really into hip-hop and still really into modern hip-hop as well, because you had Spino, you had Sexy Red, and their crowds were also very, very loud, very, very packed. Their advantage, I think, Roots Picnic has is that it's a 2-day picnic, so you have one day for one type of artist and one day for another type of artist. Summer Jam in its totality is a one-night thing, and it's a kind of a difficult thing to put together a lineup that caters to all of New York rap in 3 hours.
It's also the Roots. So like, if you are a Roots fan, sensibly you like a certain type of music that aligns with the Roots. So if you're gonna go there, even if you like Sexy Red, in the back of your head, you're still like, I appreciate this type of rap.
Right.
Hot 97 Summer Jam has always been the place where the hottest rappers go to perform. Not just in New York. They always had like a New York closer. It was always like a tradition. But I remember when T.I. went there right as King was coming out and he played What You Know and the ground shook. You know, it was like the hottest place to be at the moment. But it's always been the place where if you're popping, this is where you go to perform. They always got the hottest people. I think this year is probably a little bit more compounded because I believe they got rid of the smaller stages that they would usually have like outside of Giant Stadium because they moved the show to Long Island. So they had to compound all of the people into one. And if you're like, you know, if you're going there because you're like, I like whatever they're playing on, you know, it's called like the Hot 888 on Hot 97, which is like all new rap. If you're going there because you want to like, if you're a fan of that and you want to see all the newest artists, and then Method Man and Redman come on, and you're like, oh, my mom used to play that, or like my dad plays that music, you're like tuned out. It would be akin to if when I was in high school, going to Summer Jam, which I used to go to in high school, and like, I don't know, like Lionel Richie came out. Like, it'll be dope to see Lionel Richie, but it'd be like, damn, what's Lionel Richie doing here? It'd be crazy to see Lionel Richie just like randomly in between, you know, like Ja Rule and
Dipset. Like,
And
let's
Dipset.
go. Like,
yeah.
And
Now
coming
we
to the
gotta
stage
fill it,
now, Mr. Hello himself,
Oh.
Lionel Richie. People be like, oh, what?
But I mean, do we not think that the hip hop tent is big enough? Because okay, Lionel Richie, I get, but Lionel Richie's like a different. No, he's not hip hop. He's completely a different.
He's R&B. If it was like
yeah,
20,
I mean, yeah,
if
but
you
like-
take the genre of music and transpose it 20 years earlier, he was popping. He was like the fans would be he'd be the one the fans would be listening to. So I think it's like it's just now that rap has been around long enough now that we have such a big tent now that a rapper from 20, 30 years ago is Method Man.
Right.
Whereas when I was in high school, a rapper from 30 years ago would never get invited to Summer Jam. That would never happen.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
I know I sound old, but like that would never be a thing.
When we said 20, 30 years ago, I was like, well, that's before hip hop. You know, that would have been
We just celebrated the 50th anniversary
that
of
would
the
have been
shit.
James Brown up there.
Yeah.
James Brown.
Shout out James. But like, okay, you know, because we have all these rappers nowadays, there's been a lot of controversy about people not really paying homage and respect that, you know, cats didn't listen to Tupac. I don't really listen to big, you know, I don't like, who are they? So when it comes to someone like, you know, a Method or a Redman and this kind of, are we losing in some ways the respect for that? And what happens to those artists? I mean, 'cause even like country festivals, you know, it's not crazy to see, you know, Dolly Parton and Casey Musgraves on the same bill. Like no one's gonna say, you know, like Dolly ain't had a hit and da-da-da. And I know she's an icon and all this, but clearly, you know, cats like Method, Red, they're iconic. People should know their songs. I mean, you know, what?
I don't think people don't know their songs. I think people know their songs, but I think it's rap is a very unique genre. Like we all know that. We all know it's like so future leaning. It's like people look to rap to set the tone for whatever pop music will be in like a year or two. Like the sounds that you hear in like a fire rap song, you're probably going to hear in a pop song a few years down the road. But I think people know the songs. It's a lot to ask an 18-year-old to be excited for a guy who made music before he was born.
And one song,
regardless of
set.
rapper or not. Rapper or not, you know?
Yes, like it's also, I may know, not me, because I know the songs, but you know, this kid may know one or two Meth songs, one or two Redman songs, but you're asking them to sit through an entire set and maybe multiple of those sets in anticipation for the people who they actually do want to see. It's not a recipe for anything good at that point. Like they're gonna get restless. They're gonna just want to see cash because they want to have their Dusty Summer. They're not trying to sit down and listen to people who their parents listen to. But I think part of it is also like we are doing poorly with passing down music throughout generations. And it reminds me of this discourse that was happening on socials around block parties in Brooklyn. There was like that video going on about the one at Tompkins Ave, and it was like everyone was in their mid-20s and da-da-da-da-da. And when I think of the block parties that I went to when I was a kid, everybody was there. So you had like the oldest people on the block, the youngest people on the block. You're sharing cultures, you're sharing music, you're passing down those recipes and stuff like that. When you are creating spaces and event spaces that kick out those older generations and kick out those younger generations, you're kind of reinforcing the silos that we already have because of these algorithms and streaming and social media. So you're only really seeing and hearing what you already are predisposed to liking versus getting exposed to something new or getting exposed to something that came before you. So then when you go to these shows that have these cross-generational bills, you're not really equipped as a fan or as a listener or as a consumer to be fully present the entire time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know, especially how to fix that.
I was gonna say, what can we do? What can Summer Jam do?
I think Summer Jam should still have artists like Method. I don't think they should get rid of
Summer
artists
Jam
like
should
Method Man.
expand to, or if they used to do multiple days, go back to doing multiple days.
It was always one day, but they would have different stages. Like they would have if this was 10, 15 years ago, Cash would be on a smaller stage. I think outside of the
Did
stadium.
they have one out? Because when I was at the UBS one, the first time they did UBS was last year. They had a outside stage, and that's where they brought out like La Tyler and Connie Diamond and stuff, like the smaller guys, and then the big headliners are on the stage inside of the arena. I don't know if that happened this year.
I don't think they did that this year, but
it could
I
have been
think
hip hop.
they should better program that. And it's going to continue happening. I don't think Method Man, like he's allowed to feel however he wants to feel. It's completely fine, but I think it's still good for him to perform there. I think it's still good for him to go out there and kill it. Maybe not do a full set. Maybe go out and do 5 songs and be like, peace. It makes me think of, I think we spoke about it on an earlier episode where like a Rolling Loud video came out of these kids listening to a Future set, and this guy had a camera and like panned the audience, and no one was moving. And that's Future.
And Damien is still upset about that to this day.
Because Future still has hits.
Because what do you mean? This is Future.
Future still has hits. I was like, yeah. That was like, I think that's something different. But I think, I don't think these as to his point, I don't think you should remove people from these spaces. I think you should still have them there so people can understand like what came before. Like my joke about Lionel Richie, I said that in jest, but it would have been dope to see Lionel Richie at that time. Mainly because we know Lionel Richie songs, we knew who he was. It would just be like a little jarring to see him, but it would have been dope to see him at that time. But I also think like rap is starting to need like an Essence Fest type of show where like something that is like big and considered and geared towards the artist who were popping a generation or two ago, but it's open to everybody. Like I go to Essence Fest and I see people of all ages there, but they are there because they want to see these things. And it's the inverse. They have like 1 or 2 new artists, but the most of the bill are these other people. And I think it's time for rap to have that.
Well, it seems like we're kind of moving in that direction just in general. I mean, Essence Fest obviously has been doing it for a long time, but some of these 90s kind of,
they're like Lovers and
conglomerations
Friends
tour. Yeah, Lovers and Friends. I think even speaking of Lionel Richie, that A Fool in Love concert, that's like, it's like Lionel, Diane. It's like your grandma's greatest hits collection
like
come to life.
What's it, the Celebration tour? The one with like Kirk and the Clark sisters and Donnie, like all them together. I think we definitely do need more of those spaces because I thought we would get more of them after Hip Hop 50 last year because I thought that was a really good example of those people will still come out and buy tickets and pack out these shows for bills that are nobody modern on there.
I mean, that generation that's the generation who's got money.
Exactly. Like they will pay and they will travel.
The VIP and the travels and the hotels and they'll want the resorts and they'll want like that's, I mean, I guess that's why maybe the Fool in Love is happening where you got, that classic generation that's like that's the 401ks, that's the retirees. Like
they have the disposable income.
Yeah, like
we can't buy these regular tour tickets right now, let alone.
I mean, those are crazy prices. But it makes me think of like my family's Jamaican. There's this guy named Barris Hammond who tours like maybe every other year. Every year, every time he tours, we go. Every time he comes to New York, New Jersey, we go, and it's always packed, and it's always like a mixture of 50, 60, 70-year-olds and then like a bunch of 20-year-olds who are like, I love this song because my parents played it all the time and I just like became a fan of this guy. But it's always packed. I've never been to a show of his where it's like there's empty seats or people aren't, standing room only type shit. So I think we're at that point in rap. I think it's time. I think it's time to like expand and really, really break out these old man rap concerts.
Yeah. And not for nothing, we got to keep the older guys on these stages because by and large, for the male side at least, they're still better performers. They're still, people who can actually get through a show rapping their songs completely live. They're not holding up the mic to the audience the entire time. They're not letting the backtrack do work for them. They're doing live arrangements for their stuff. Like they're setting a really great blueprint for what it can look like for a rap show. If you don't want to do like a bunch of special effects and choreography and stuff like that. Like I mean, if you just want to get up there and rap, like look at Meth and Redband. Like they're still doing that just straight up just rapping into the mic thing that a lot of these younger guys are not doing.
No backing track.
No backing track, nothing. Like just straight spitting. Like
and
even if you don't know the songs, like it's really enrapturing to look at when you're in the crowd. Like that's a real performance versus like I'm gonna meander around stage for 30 minutes and maybe mumble into the mic every now and then.
Big facts.
Like y'all gotta take some notes from these guys and at least have them in the space so you can see that, because like we've seen the women in rap step up their performance game for the past 10 years and like outside of a couple guys, they've kind of plateaued in that regard, and they should really be looking at the older guys to see like what they can.
I'm curious who you think even those guys are, because thinking about it, I'm like, it's only the older, not the oldest guys, but like it's like the Kendrick, Drake, Cole.
Yeah.
Those are the guys I think about who like rap without a backing track, who are able to,
I will say Smino was very, very consistent, very solid.
Smino?
Okay.
Yeah.
Tyler, I think, is really good. Is really good at that.
I can never really tell how much Gunna is like doing live, but his live arrangements are very, very strong across the board. Like he does a really good job translating like the synthetic sort of like trap stuff into like, here's some guitars, bass, drum, like let's do a whole kind of rock reimagining of my album. He's good in that regard. Tease will give you a visually interesting show.
Tease like
he's not.
He's like 30 something.
Yeah, but he like new-ish.
Yeah,
he's one of those people who's like he's old, but like he bloomed late, right?
Yeah. He's like he comes from like he knows what
exactly.
Like.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making, where it's like these people like they've studied, they know what performance looks like and what it can look like. So even if we just keep two of them on the bill, like keep them in the building, so
I agree.
The fans can see what this can look like, and the artists can see what this can look like, and where they can take their careers in 20 years or in 30 years. Like this is what you should be striving for when you're making your records. Stuff that will still be able to make you play an arena in 20 years.
Yeah, maybe like think about it differently. Like if you're gonna have those guys come to Summer Jam, think about like the context of it. Like it would be dope to see Red and Meth like do like to your point, to have them do like an orchestral reimagining of Blackout, like do something outside of the norm than just them having them perform what they consider to be their hit records, just so it's like an experience that these kids can walk away from and be like, that was really dope. I wouldn't have gotten that anywhere else. Yeah.
All right, free idea for anybody who wants that sort of golden rap festival, because I like these guys. I think that would honestly.
Hey Mike, if you wanna do it.
That's right. Maybe it'll be billboards.
Let me know.
Let's do it. All right. Speaking of festivals, let's fast forward to one that is happening, at least a pop-up performance, very, very soon. Next Wednesday, we know on Juneteenth. The pop out.
Let's go.
Look, I'm saying
the pop
Juneteenth
out
next week, June 19th, a federal holiday
Come
in these
on.
United States.
Come on. Very intentional date for that concert.
Oh, yeah. Ken and Friends. So, of course, PG Lang, Kendrick Lamar is going to be there. Of course, a surprise announcement. It'll be streaming on Amazon, which I'm sure, is probably going to break Amazon's whole server because everyone's going to be tuning in for that. One day, if you're out there in Los Angeles and Inglewood, you'll be one of the lucky ones who hopefully can get in. I would not want to be on that Inglewood traffic in any case.
Nah.
But here we are, of course. Couple months after the beef has kind of died down, Kenny's going to pop out, do this performance that, no one expected. But what do we expect from it? Obviously, the big question is going to be, I think everyone's going to wait for Not Like Us to be the moment. Is he going to open with it? Is he going to close with it? Is he not going to do it because, psych, this is Juneteenth and we ain't worried about him? What do y'all expect, from this Kenny pop-up?
I mean, I hope he plays the songs we've all been listening to for the past month.
It could become the official Juneteenth anthem.
Yeah.
Like, with a proper performance, like Not Like Us is just out of here.
Yo, first of all, Not Like Us being a Juneteenth anthem would be
pretty crazy.
It would be
like,
crazy.
And it would be great.
It would be like, we are.
It would be great, and it would have like a great backstory behind why it was the Juneteenth anthem.
You're like telling your kids.
Yeah, like Mom,
this is why we rap this song every year.
It's like, Mama, why don't we wake up to Not Like Us on, because
this is why it's the first thing you hear in the morning, that little mustard beat. Like, this is why.
Wow.
This is why.
Son, sit down. I got a story to tell you.
Because some of these rappers that weren't from here was trying to do some stuff, and we had to remind them that they're not like us.
Rapping it.
I mean,
exactly.
Well, there's lyrics about
Star Spangled Banner, not like us. It's the same thing.
We wanted the Super Bowl every year. All that.
There we go.
But there's the references, of course, to Atlanta talking about slave. There's maybe some historical context we could sort of loosely tie in there. But Dame, what are you looking for? Come. The pop out.
I hope he plays the songs, of course. I hope he does like some cool renditions of his hits. But I think the song Not Like Us, more than being an amazing diss song, and more than like being this hit that has been played ad nauseum everywhere, it really is like a clarion call for the West Coast. It's like brought West Coast together in a way that I haven't seen in a minute. And there's rumors that he's going to bring a bunch of people, local artists out. So I'm excited to see him, but I'm more excited to see him perform Not Like Us, and then see like a bunch of West Coast artists just go crazy and perform all their songs and just have this like big celebration of the state. Because a big part of the battle, at least from Drake's side, was like, you're on your own. You know, he was like, TDE don't fuck with you. You know, the West don't fuck with you. You know, he's like, the real gangbangers in LA don't fuck with you. Started naming rappers like YG don't fuck with you.
Which was really crazy
And
in retrospect. Like,
I think this is the ultimate cap to be like, nah, bro, you got that completely and utterly wrong.
mm-hmm.
Look at all this.
And we had been knew it was wrong because, like, okay, well, Drake, what do you know about what's going on in terms of Compton politics? But I would love to see, like, a live Not Like Us cypher with just, like, different West Coast artists, like, just, like, spitting over it. Like, SOBX RBE getting on there.
Not Like Us remix?
Yeah, dude,
Let's
debut
go.
that live would be crazy. Like, if you don't debut the video live,
Yo.
you shoot the video at, like, the performance. A live Not Like Us remix with just like only West Coast niggas.
It is weird we haven't heard anybody actually remix the song.
I'm saying
that is
it's
weird.
like something's got to be in the tank.
How do you touch perfection really? But
easy.
I'm sure they got stuff to say.
Yeah.
I'm sure
every
city that Drake has philandered has something to say. Like I'm sure that they have stuff that they want to put on that track that they can absolutely just like.
That's a great point. Yo. I didn't even think about that. We haven't.
So dope.
Because if this was like a few years ago, you would have heard like. Everybody remixed the track. Even niggas from not from LA. Like you would have heard like a Fabulous remix of Not Like Us. But we haven't heard anything.
We've seen people dance to it. Yeah. We ain't seen people rap on this beat yet. Like something's got to be in store. I would love to see that.
So so it's almost like
wow.
I mean, like I guess if the release was the assassination, the murder, like this is the funeral, and everybody.
This is the victory lap. This is the second line. Like this is gonna celebrate.
Yo, but
this is a repass.
This
like,
right.
And they
be
like
real good.
And that coffin going 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet under. Like, the friends for Kenny and Friends it'll be interesting to see who comes.
Yeah, I'm
through.
excited to see who comes through. I'm excited to see. I really now I'm like amped to see that.
It feels like that's gonna be a real battle line kind of thing. Because we talked about like we've seen Rick, Rick Ross come through. I mean, Future's been quiet, but
like y'all think Metro popping out?
But I mean, it feels
y'all
like
think Weekend popping out?
It feels like if you really show up, like that is you're putting on the jersey, like you are on the team.
If Weekend pops out, bro,
Abel gets out there and just starts crooning over the Not Like Us outro. Like I'd be so weak.
This would be the time to do it, right? Like
Weekend on the Not Like Us remix would be fucking amazing.
Yo, I would actually play that out like every single day. Did y'all see like the Ticketmaster queues for the thing?
It was like a
he
Taylor
could have
Swift
done
concert.
SoFi.
Mm-hmm.
He really could have done SoFi. I kind of wish that they moved it to SoFi. Like,
because
the footage alone, like,
is in Inglewood, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Like that would have been like his equivalent or our modern day equivalent to like that DMX like festival video. that would have been freaking insane. Like Kia Form is going to be amazing anyway, but like SoFi would have been nuts.
Man. It's gonna be special. And I think people have been comparing the two of them for a while as it pertains to what they've been doing after this beef. And we've seen what Drake's done. He's has some Instagram posts. He's had 2 songs come out. And Kendrick has just been super quiet. And all we've seen from him has been an instant message between him and Punch, where Punch is clowning him for looking seductive in a Chanel ad. And he talked at Compton College.
Yeah, get that commencement. Yeah,
and
that popped up out of nowhere. Yeah,
out of nowhere, and this.
I think it's great that we're gonna get a live element period out of this. I feel like all the great beefs have a live element. Like Jay and Nas at Summer Jam, Remy, Nicki at Summer Jam. Like we haven't gotten a live element, and this beef has been so unique because so much of it has lived online.
Right.
So much of it has been Drake's, Instagram stories and memes, and we're dropping diss tracks on Instagram, and we're doing this and we're doing that, but like we haven't gotten to see anyone really perform any of these tracks yet. So hearing these and seeing how they play out in a live setting will be very, very interesting, and like a nice cap on this. And hopefully we can pivot into Kendrick's album campaign, because I think we're still hearing a lot of rumors that he might be dropping this year. So I hope we move more concertedly in that area. Like let's get album talks going. I do hope Keem shows up though. I just like
it feels
him.
like
I just
the most likely guess.
That's true.
I feel like
that's
Keem
true.
is especially if it's a sort of PG Lane, Ken and Friends, like the whole atmosphere is set up for something like that.
Like we the idea of like Kendrick pulling a Drake that everyone was talking about when he dropped Not Like Us. And doing this now is just really if I'm Drake, I'm like, God damn, he really did everything. Remember when Drake performed back to back and he had like the text,
he did it twice.
Yeah, like
literally did it back to back.
Like the video screen of Meek and all that stuff, and it was like damn,
we gonna get that moment because back to back. Yeah, I like that record. Like he's gonna use his handbook against him.
You underestimated greatly.
Which still
one of my favorite Drake lines.
Mind-boggling thing about the entire beef for me was how much Drake didn't seem to take Kendrick seriously or like
you
really give him the
greatly.
time of day. It's like, what about Kendrick has ever given you the impression that you should underestimate this guy? Like,
well, if Academics is to be believed, he was like, oh, this guy always does this. He comes out with a verse, and then when people respond to the verse, he ducks off because he's Kendrick and he can't be bothered.
Sometimes those responses were shit.
Well,
I think we lost those details. Like, and I wouldn't respond to them either. Like, Megan ain't respond to Nicki after Bigfoot. That was ass. Like, I'm not giving you the time of day.
If he comes out, he's had verses where he comes out and he says things like he said he's like this Big Sean many times.
Yo.
and
wait, hold on. Wasn't Sean in the middle of a rollout, low key during all this stuff?
Yeah,
he put like a single,
like Precision drops.
Yeah, and then
in that
everything was like
it was sort of unfortunate because
he dropped the book also.
Yeah, and everything's kind of like on pause for him.
Yeah, it was
that poor guy.
Because it had been a minute since it was a really return.
I like the Big Sean song.
Yeah,
too.
same.
I thought they were good.
Damn, I wish he would just have his moment and not.
It's like Kendrick just waits. He's like I'm never gonna let you live.
He's a sneaky one, that one.
But yeah, I think it's like people, have been like, oh, when everyone heard not like that, everyone thought Kendrick was just gonna disappear.
A one and done.
Yeah, everyone was like, oh, this is like our verse from him that we get every few months. That was nice. That was great.
I didn't. I mean, I thought, I was like, okay, if we get a response from either Cole or Drake, he will then respond again.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I never thought that like he would completely disappear like after like that, because I don't know, something about the delivery on like that just felt a little bit too venomous for me to be like, And also coming off of Mr. Morale, which was so like outside of current rap kind of like conversation, like kind of existed in its own space. I was like, this feels like a re-entry into like these conversations. He's gonna stay here for a bit and stay in this like cultural pocket for a minute. But as you were saying,
yeah, I mean, I there are lines on there where you're like, wow, he hasn't been this direct maybe ever, and this has to mean something. But yeah, he proved everybody wrong. He stayed put, loaded the chopper and let it loose. And then, I think people we've talked about it many times before, but it's just like the level, the qualitative level of all the songs that came out. Even Drake songs were just, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect people to drop songs that were that good so quickly. And man, I just hope we hear all of them on Juneteenth.
Well, it goes back to, it's actually one of the lines from Not Like Us that always reminds me, like that sticks with me. It's just pretty simple line, but it's just, sometimes you got to pop out and show niggas.
Sometimes.
And I think that's just what Kendrick was really, what he said, fuck it. Like, everybody thinks this and that. And you know what? I'll just show up. I just got to prove it real quick. And no one's going to doubt it again. And clearly, he took that, ran all the way to the end zone with it. And here we are, waiting for this song. I can't even remember the last time any song, like the live debut of it, felt like it was such, like we're waiting to see this song for the first time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Ever. I know people
is gonna fucking.
It's gonna. I mean, it's gonna be a motherfucking earthquake.
That's why I'm saying maybe they should do a last minute move to SoFi. It might get real sticky in Kia for him. I don't know.
It's gonna be dangerous.
It's time to prove that he's a problem.
It's
like, all right.
God bless the security.
Nah. And my stream better not crash. That's all
I know, bro.
Amazon, Twitch.
That's the thing is,
get it together. Get those servers up.
They gotta get these like Taylor Swift, numbers ready or something.
Actually,
people. I mean, especially everybody. Half people gonna have work off that day.
Like
it's gonna be. I'm gonna be.
If I wasn't in Nashville, I would be grilling and having this playing on the TV. Like, are you kidding? Like this is a federal holiday and a personal holiday for me.
What you grill?
I'm hyped. What I grill? Burgers, chicken, shrimp. I be on the grill. I gotta invite y'all over. But
For
yeah,
real.
I'd be on the
He,
grill.
okay, he was okay.
Listen, no, I'd be grilling. Y'all think the young niggas don't know how to grill no more. But
That's been a conversation on.
That has been
yeah,
a
and I recuse myself because I am part of that. I can grill.
right.
Okay. All right. Well, Juneteenth at Kyle's house. It sounds
sir.
like if you're in Inglewood, make sure you check that out, please, because we wish we could be there. Do it for us.
Please play the songs.
The pop.
Please just play all the songs.
All of them.
Just
Honestly,
Like,
that's
every
all he
last
could do.
one.
He could
Play
just
the
come out,
songs.
do that, and then walk away, and I'd be like, that was the best goddamn show I've
Yeah.
seen.
No, actually, I mean, like I saw the Miss Morale tour. It was great. I don't want to hear those songs again. I want to hear these new songs.
Yeah.
These new songs.
Last thing I'll say, I'm interested to see after this what the bar for OVO Fest is, because I mean, if that comes back in 6 weeks,
Why I forgot OVO Fest was.
if that comes back at the end of July, that kind of.
did he have one last year?
We'll find out. All right.
He just gonna book Sexy Red. He just that's his crutch. So that's what's gonna happen. Like y'all know it's
Kyle came out here just like wilding,
okay.
bro.
What we gonna
Hey,
say?
I love me some Sexy, and I go to OVO Fest and see her again. But he would just book her. Like
Okay, well, hopefully, Sexy, get that passport ready. Hopefully, there are no more altercations at the gate and the terminal.
that poll, I was weak.
Gonna wish you a safe flight, safe travels. All right, let's talk about somebody who, unfortunately, we don't really get to talk about much anymore in the music space. That is Miss Rihanna out here giving some comments on R9. And unfortunately, there is no drop date. There is no release date. We're just hearing that she was saying she's reinventing, finding herself again, kind of restarting on the album, some of the stuff that she had before, maybe pushed to the side. So we're over 8 years since Auntie came out. Back in 2016, we've been waiting. In 2019, there were rumors it was coming out. We heard a little bit of dancehall. We heard a little bit of, back to the roots maybe for R9. We've heard Start, Stop. We got a couple tracks, of course, from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. But
Song with Party Next Door.
Song Party Next Door. So we've seen a couple glimpses. Nothing real definitive. Nothing that really, shapes up the campaign. We're doing beauty. We've been doing hair now. But she says she's coming back with R9. What are our thoughts on I guess, are we foolish enough to hope that it's coming anytime soon? And
I don't think it's coming anytime soon, but
soon now we're talking. Soon could be. On the Rihanna scale of soon, it could be. I'll give it 2 years.
2 years, maybe 2 years.
She's been saying variations of this for years, and I think half of it is like her just trying to shut us up.
Yeah.
Because I would do this too. Like if I'm throwing an event for my makeup line, my hair care line, my lingerie line, and y'all keep asking me about music, I'm just gonna say some shit to shut y'all up and talk about these products because this is what I'm here for. But I also
you gonna get this makeup.
Like you're gonna get this makeup, you're gonna get this conditioner.
You saw what the invite was.
It was
this
is not about music.
Yeah.
I think she should take as long as she wants. Like she actually we say this about a lot of artists, but I think it really is truthful for her. Like you have given us an incredible catalog. At one point, you were cranking out like an album a year for 7 years straight. Yeah. There isn't anyone really doing that kind of work doing something that comparable in the pop space right now. Like take as much time as you want. And also I would rather if she takes her time to truthfully be inspired, create something that she's really proud of instead of just dropping off an album of stuff that could have been sung by Thames or somebody. I would much prefer she does that than come back with something that's not good.
Yeah. And
I also think that she hit an interesting pocket with Anti where it felt like her first, arguably second or third, really great, consistent, all-around project. And I think she wants to do another one of those. And I think she just needs the time to do so. And her life is lifing. She got 2 kids. They're young. She with her man. She's expanding her empire. She popped out into the Super Bowl for us. What else do we want from this lady besides giving her this space?
We want R9.
All I'm saying is y'all better not trash R9 or trash Anti when R9 eventually drops because people like to do that. But I feel like we should just stop asking her about it. When she's ready to share stuff, she'll share stuff. Because it doesn't feel like she ever divulges stuff without us prompting her for an answer or for anything like that. And I feel like if she was truthfully further along, she would volunteer the information herself. I don't think she's further along at all. And that's okay.
Yeah, I think I think, we do this a lot, obviously, with a lot of artists where we're always in demand. Okay, when's the next? As soon as a single drops, okay, when's the album? When's the album? You put out something, it's been 2 years since Kendrick. 2 years, in the grand scheme of what pop music has been in the last, 30, 40 years. 2 years is no time. But we're already like hungry and ready for the next thing, which of course is exciting because, we can digest things and we enjoy it. And it's sort of a compliment, right? That we really want to make sure that we hear something new from you. Mm-hmm. It probably, of course, helps, like you said, like Rihanna has put a whole back catalog together. She's got 14 number ones on the Hot 100. Right. She's got plenty more hits beyond that, features, all these kind of things. So we have been fed very well.
Overfed. Like, this girl has been working since she first debuted.
She was a teenager.
Like, it's 8 years, not that bad for me, to be honest. And like, I'm sorry. Like, as a Frank Ocean guy, like, I'm okay with waiting. I'd be waiting a long time. People still waiting for that mythical, second Lauryn Hill studio album. Like, you'll be all right. She'll come when she comes. It'll be okay. That's kind of where I stand on Rihanna right now.
I believe that she's reinvigorated, and I think having a family does that. I think like discovering parts of yourself after you have kids, and you have to essentially like bifurcate yourself to give so much of yourself to your children while trying to keep some for yourself. And I think she probably has like all these new experiences and new feelings that she wants to share. I'm glad that she's like, I'm not really retired. I'm still making music. Just give me a second. I'm just getting all my shit together. And, I'm excited to see what she does. And, I agree. I'm a huge D'Angelo fan. I waited so long for that, for Black Messiah.
Oh yeah.
And
Black Messiah. That was already what, a decade ago?
I was like,
2013.
13.
So long ago. And after that album came out, I was just like, you know what? Do what you got to do, bro. Like, whatever it takes. You just make whatever you need to make. And he's put out maybe a sixth of the amount of music that Rihanna has put out. Right? And some people just need that time. I think she's going to, whatever she releases next, I think is going to be vastly different than what she's released in the past, because she's a vastly different person than when we last saw her. Like, when we last saw her, she was
dodging Drake's kisses at the VMAs.
Yeah.
Like, that's the last time we saw her.
She's a completely different
in the middle of an album
station in life. And I'm excited to see what she's learned and what she's discovered and what she's feeling now. So whenever she's ready, we're here.
Low key, fucking album. She should pop out at Kendrick's show and do Loyalty, man. Because that would be that would send Drake off the edge. We need Rihanna to pop out and do Loyalty with Kendrick in LA. I need it. I don't know if we need it, but I need it.
Do you think Ree would be game for that? Do you think
she has a petty streak to her?
She's
absolutely.
One of the most petty. She's one of the pettiest people.
But no,
ever.
she like that. Like,
but I mean that.
Good luck with that stage you speak of.
Right, Rocky already was dropping
good
verses.
luck with that. That's one of my favorite tweets of all time.
Good luck with that stage you speak of.
Rocky's verse on the second Metro Future album, like, clearly the household is on the same page.
Yeah.
I just feel like,
damn,
we want to break the internet. Let's just completely shatter the internet. Let's just do it.
I'm just.
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas. What did he rap?
Could you? I mean, sorry, I'm stunned. I'm just really thinking. Of course, the hype for this show is already off the charts. But like, just thinking of those little power plays that could put this in the history book is like, Beachella might be the second best concert ever after
Kendrick
this.
Could pull
like,
out
this
anybody.
Really could be this could be an all-time.
That's crazy
like,
shit.
Like,
it's like he could do anything.
Anything.
He could literally do anything.
Yeah.
He can
He really could bring out B if he wanted to.
He could bring out
she loves
Beyonce,
him.
Jay-Z. He could bring Cole out and be like, "Look, we're all good now."
This could go in so many different directions.
He could fucking. I'm so excited.
Juneteenth 2024 might be.
Rihanna,
this is the official "we back outside"
really,
thing.
If you're not busy, Rihanna, just take the kids and pop out.
Yeah, I'm sure RZA would love to be on stage, right?
Starting early.
That's
right.
Yeah. They got
I'm with it.
Okay, well, okay. Of course, we're gonna obviously have to see if Miss Fenty's petty streak is that strong. That would be. Damn.
Ooh, that'd be
I don't
so
even know.
good.
Yeah, that would.
So
Again,
good.
that Juneteenth 2024 would be a day to go in history books. Regardless of what happens, everyone's excited for it. Again, make sure you check that out. Watch it on Amazon again if you're there. Please, in LA, go check it out. We, of course, will be tuned in there, and hopefully you tune in with us next week. Again, it's been an episode of Billboard Unfiltered.